Hey, we're live.
So, Red Wolves kicking off this weekend. It's also the NCAA Final Four. So, of course, we had to go back and just posted on Twitter. We've got the smoked meat Final Four. So, our matchups here we had brisket, of course, is the blue blood, and they ran out to an early lead and never looked back. Had the walk-ons playing in the last 5 minutes. Burnt ends, however, everyone thought they were kind of an underdog against chicken wings, but chicken wings got themselves in foul trouble. Went 1 for 12 behind the arc, and burnt ends were able to see that out. And then on the other, I was surprised. I thought maybe smoked sausage had a chance against pulled pork with the upset, but that classic managed to pull it out. So pulled pork against ribs. That's a matchup to watch.
Yeah, I think we all know who's going to end up winning this when it's all said and done because it wouldn't be the Brisket Boys show if that's not who ultimately wins it, right?
Soccer chat with two T's because we're going to chat about soccer, but we're also in Chattanooga. So it's like a play on words. And, Chattanooga is a soccer city.
Welcome to Soccer Chat. Who cares what episode it is? It's kickoff weekend, Adam.
I'm super stoked to finally actually have games to be previewing and to be super like pumped to actually be going to within the next couple days.
It's going to be a really busy kickoff. Hey to you too, Facebook user. Um, we are really excited. It's a busy kickoff. We've got this Saturday's game, Chattanooga Red Wolves taking on Forward Madison at home. We then on Wednesday travel to Louisville to take on Louisville City in the U.S. Open Cup. And then they will be on the road again the following Saturday, taking on North Carolina FC. So it's a really fast start. And I don't know what else to do, but let's just dive in and talk about this first game against Madison.
Sounds like a great
Um,
plan.
First things first, of course, we've got Madison with a new coach coming into town, kind of a new look on life. Coach Matt Glazer, and has an interesting career. Played collegiately. Where did he play collegiately? Now I'm trying to look it up. James Madison.
And was highly touted, is my understanding, coming out of college. Maybe so I think if you go to his Wikipedia page, it says that he was expected to be drafted and wasn't as a goalkeeper, but was a really strong college player, and then eventually moved into coaching pretty early in his career. In all honesty,
So played his longest period of time with Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Wanted to joke his entire career, never scored one goal. That is, of course, because he was a goalkeeper, but played a long time with Fort Lauderdale Strikers in USL. Spent some time with Real Monarchs and Real Salt Lake, and just recently was the goalkeeper coach at Sacramento Republic with our old friend Colin Falvey, and takes over with Madison. Third coach in 3 years, a lot to turn around. They've moved on from the Turbo Tobin era. What do you see with Madison's players, new returning? What do they bring to the field?
yeah, Madison's an interesting team because they did have quite a bit of turnover from the previous year, and rightfully so, because they didn't really produce well. I think if you were to ask some of those players from last year, it just wasn't a great environment within the team, is the impression that you get from just if you just kind of look at certain things like where a player is transferred to another team and he's thanking the fans not from the team he played with in Madison last year but in Greenville, right? So things like that that say it was a dysfunctional year for them on the field last year.
Sorry.
Getting a weird background of you wanting to listen to yourself talk about Turbo, who has moved on to Vermont, and the USL League Two team in Vermont as part of their front office. Something that he really actually took a shot at forward for not having the opportunity there as well. So that kind of goes with that whole trend. But I think the player that most U.S. fans are going to be interested in coming in uh, is a gentleman by the name of Alvin Jones on the defensive end. Do you know why he's important?
Boo!
Yeah, so if you didn't need enough reasons to boo Forward Madison players this weekend, Alvin Jones, if you're not aware, is the player that kept the U.S. out of the World Cup 4 years ago with a goal for Trinidad and Tobago. So, yeah, you should be a little bit ready to give him some stick, clean shtick, right? Like nothing over the line, but definitely something. You got something you can take some shots at him for. Or attempt to take shots. I guess maybe he's more armed than we are, right? Since he is the one that scored on us. But
Well, how did Trinidad and Tobago do in this World Cup qualifying run?
hey-o. Yeah, and then I think that the biggest probably player that that you're probably going to think, look at is, and I'm going to mispronounce the junk out of his name, but Matheus Cassini, a Brazilian attacking midfielder. He's got a pretty strong background. If you take a look at some of the places that he's played before, and I think he could be um, an interesting player for them coming into that attacking midfielder. That's probably the most offensive player that they brought up that you should probably keep your eye on.
So a lot of unrealized potential, I think you would say. There's a lot of fans that are, hoping that this is the year that they really turn it on, make another playoff push. They did qualify at the very end of the inaugural year in 2019 for the playoffs, mostly
Yeah,
because Lansing Ignite threw the game, uh,
and then
or at
disappeared.
least that's what it appeared to be, and then folded their team. But they did end up, one place above us in the table that year. The last 2 years have not been quite as well, missed out on the playoffs both years. So they have a lot that they're looking to build on and trying to turn things around with the new coach and bringing in a lot of new players. So I have three important stats, some numbers I want to bring you for the
Okay.
Madison Chattanooga historical matchup. Number one is the number one, which is unfortunately how many wins we have against Forward Madison. In the 7 games in the series, we won our very first game against them in 2019, 1-0, goal
It was
scored by
also
Eamon Zaid.
a home opener that game.
Right, the Chattanooga Red Wolves home opener. And since then, we have had 4 draws, 2 losses. So every time.
It's one of those stats like that you hear when you hear stats about like previous play. I'm always like, okay, like the turnover is too high for it to matter. It's like when you hear things like they haven't beat this team in 20 years, like right, and all those people on that team were in grade school when that happened. Like, it doesn't matter. It's a different team, and I'm more worried about who are we bringing than I am about Madison. There's nobody on that team that worries me. I'm more worried about what we bring. But what are your other
So
two stats?
next one, the second one, is the number 2. And there is only 2 times in this matchup's history that more than 2 goals have been scored in the game. There was, again, in the 2019 season, a 2-2 draw that was a lot of back and forth. And then there was, unfortunately, the 2-1 defeat we suffered against Madison at the end of last season. And so every time you come to this game, whatever you think about the records, it's going to be tight. It's going to be close. Goals are going to be scarce. There probably should have been another game where there was more than 2 goals. Hashtag justice for Jono. But we're not going to go into that. We're going to give the referees a chance to make their own mistakes this year before we start dragging them through the mud.
Well, they'll be sure to do that for us. I guarantee you that. All right. So what's your third stat?
The third stat would be the number 3, which
Of
is
course.
3 coaches in the last 3 years for Forward Madison. Do you see how nice and tight that was?
That's well done.
That's
That's well
award
done.
worthy little segment I did there. 3 coaches in the last 3 years. So, like you've said, you look back at past thing. There's so much turnover. There's different coaches. We're not completely sure what we're going to see. What we do know, if you want to turn to what the Red Wolves have, is we've got some players who are still trying to get in the country. Even if they've come into the country in the last couple weeks, they're not going to be ready to play just yet.
Yeah.
They've got to get in training. They've got to make sure what kind of shape they're in. From the workout videos I've seen, Juan Galindrez looks like he's in the best shape of his life, but that's an internet video. That's not real life. Um, so players like that are missing, some players that are injured, that are still working themselves back to fitness. It's a long season. It's a
Yeah.
hectic start, and they're not going to just throw guys out there in April and possibly lose them for the rest of the year. So, like you said, there's a lot of people that are missing, and it's going to be interesting to see which players come out and how they show up this coming Saturday.
So I'm actually expecting both trialists that they named today as actual members of the team um, to see time tomorrow. Whether or not they both start, I don't know, but I think they'll both end up on the field tomorrow. And these are guys that, literally made the team or have been officially signed to the team 2 days before the season starts, right? And there's a good chance one of those guys plays the whole game, right? Like
Mhm.
that's how light we are. Um, so that said, do you want to take a look at your prediction you've got for what we've got on the field yet?
Yeah, we throw that up. I've got a proposed lineup here that we are looking to that I think we're going to line up with. We've got injuries to Daniel Navarro. That is going to lead us to Jorge Luna and Sebastian Capizzucci as a center back partner. I think the new signing Aaron Lombardi is going to be one that's going to be playing on the left wing pretty often. New guy DJ Benton, who you may remember from North Texas, I think is going to be one of those folks pressed into service, not necessarily a regular starter, but is going to have to kind of come in this game, and he's got an opportunity to earn some playing time for himself. The midfield is another one. You guys are familiar with Villalobos and Carrera Garcia, and I think Mo Espinoza, who's you talked about one of the trialist signees. Coach Jimmy Oblate is very high on Mo Espinoza. He talked about just kind of his mentality and the way that he attacked things in camp was a big part to why he was getting signed. So I think you're going to see him start. I think he's going to play, and I hope he makes the most of this opportunity as a chance to shine. We're missing Wolfman Jeff. I'll go ahead and say we want to see Mo goals from
Oh,
Mo Espinoza.
that is totally a Wolfman comment right there.
Because of the shortage of forwards, with David Teixeira still kind of coming back to full fitness, Juan Galindrez still trying to get here. I think Rafa Mensigan is going to be moved into that 9 slot. We're normally going to see him on the wing, possibly where I have Josue Espana and Ray Ortiz. And so that's that. I think it's a very good attacking lineup if they're going to be able to finish their chances. I think it really comes down to how well are we going to be able to defend, as we've got a lot of folks that we're kind of shuffling around to try to fill some gaps there as well for injuries.
Yeah, it's a scary start. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's disappointing to feel like we're not gonna be able to put our best foot forward right away. But that said, it's not like it's an empty start, right?
Hmm.
Uh, like I think Rafa's at full health, which I don't know that we really ever saw last year. I think Ray really started to come into his own on the outside. I'm gonna say he's actually gonna be on the left, not the right, but
Okay.
even then, like I think Ray was started to really come into himself. Jose Carrera Garcia has proven himself as a leader on the field, and I think having him as that stability spot there is really useful. Villalobos was always somebody you could trust to put in a hard fault time while he was on the pitch. So even though these are not necessarily what if you had your full team fully here, fully healthy, fully trained up and fit, I don't think this is your starting lineup. But I don't think it's a starting lineup that can't win. But it's definitely not ideal to have to start the season shorthanded, not just because of injury, but also because of issues with players being able to make it into the country, due to whatever visa issues or whatever is going on there. So I think that's the bigger issue here is we've got a combination of both. We're missing probably 5 players that if you would have asked the coach when he first put his or his team together, that he probably expected to be either starters or heavy minute users, and they're not here, and so that's a big deal. I think Daniel Navarro is a massive hole to not have to start the season,
Hmm.
and I think while I think Luna and Capizzucci could definitely fill, I think there's something to be said for the continuity and the strength that Navarro brought, and we're missing him for at least a few months, if not longer, is what I understand. And so that to me says this is your chance, Luna. This is your chance, Capizzucci, to show that when he does come back, he's going to have to fight to get a spot because of how well you've played. So
So, and then you talk about, this isn't necessarily the top team that you want to put out there. Again, we're playing 3 games in the first 7 days.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to make sure that you're monitoring whether guys are fit or not. You've got a game against a really tough team in Louisville. It's important for I think teams in League One to try to make the most of those opportunities in the Open Cup to advance as far as they can. There's prize money on the line. There's prestige on the line. There's a chance to get eyeballs on your players and what you're
Yeah.
doing with your group. And so that's a game that they've got to take seriously. And we're going to talk a little bit about it later, what we think we're going to see when we go up there. But that all comes into what they're trying to. And I guess I didn't mention the goalkeeper there, lonely old goalkeeper. But I think Tor Saunders is going to be a really difference maker in net. And I think it's going to be great to have him starting for the Red Wolves.
Agreed. I think if this is another situation where we had an injury, right? And who we expected to be our starting goalkeeper, who we announced really as that starting goalkeeper, got injured. And so we were able to, through honestly, I think through the play of our former player Trilk, gave Indy the confidence to say, "Hey, we're going to let this guy go get a full season of play." And so, being able to pick him up to be that our number one is a huge pickup, because I don't think anyone really saw that coming. And so, kudos to Sean McDaniel for putting that together. So, anyways. All right, so that's a preview of this weekend. We're going to get into a little bit more about Louisville later. But before we do that, we had an opportunity to...
Oh, timeout.
Yep.
Game predictions.
I don't want to predict. Okay. I'll let you go first, because no one's going to like my prediction.
Okay. I see this as a 1-1. I think it's going to be tight. I think the Red Wolves are good enough that they can win. I am not going to be shocked. I think the way that the players that we're missing, Madison's going to be up for it. That they might be able to sneak a goal in. We're going to have to try to answer. I see the game as a tie. It's not going to shock me if it is a close 1-0 defeat as we try to kind of sort some things out. First game of the season. But yeah, so I'm having this down as a 1-1 draw myself.
So I'm going to give you my ridiculous prediction that will not happen, and then I'm going to give you my real one. Here's my ridiculous prediction. It's 1-1 going into the 80th minute. Plane flies over top of CHI Memorial. You get to the 90th minute, and you see a player just running as fast as he can onto the field. It's Juan Galindrez, who just landed in town.
With his suitcase on the sideline.
Yeah, he's switching into his clothes,
got
runs
the little
on,
neck pillow,
scores the 2-1 winner. No, but that's not what's going to actually happen. I think what's actually going to happen, and this is going to sound incredibly pessimistic, I have us losing 1-0. And to make it even worse, I have them scoring that first goal in the first 5 minutes of the game. So we have to then, we will then as a team miss like 8 shots. And they won't do anything else the rest of the game. And because they're just going to hunker down and play a Jose Mourinho style defensive. Their coach is a goalkeeper, and they're going to put 10 in the box and win 1-0, and we're just going to keep shooting and missing, and it's going to be excruciating the whole time. That's my prediction that I expect to happen.
Okay, well, with that bit of darkness, go ahead and introduce our interview for the week.
Yeah, so Jeff and I got a chance to sit down with Mark Ward, who is the director of the Chattanooga Red Bulls Academy. I got a chance to talk to him about his background and what the Red Bulls Academy plans are and what they're doing and how they're looking to continue to grow that and impact the community. So without further ado, here's that.
Hey, it's Wolfman Jeff here with Soccer Chat with Adam, our producer and coach for the Chattanooga Red Wolves Academy, Mark Ward. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, I know you've been busy coaching, and I heard a rumor that you may be involved with coaching when our friend Alex is there as a parent on the field. And I have to ask, is he that kind of parent? How is he, how behaved? This is what I really want to know. How behaved is Alex on the field while his kid's out there playing?
I'll say this. Alex, compared to others, is tame.
Well,
Yeah,
I
he
really,
keeps it all in, he keeps it all inside, and then it
Yes, right.
explodes internally. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
waits until he gets in his car and then does one of those Will Ferrell kicking and screaming moments.
yeah.
Well
And
done.
then he just takes it out on all the brisket. Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, very good. All right. So now which ages do you work with there, Mark?
Yeah, so I'm technically the director of coaching, so I get to see a lot of the age groups throughout the academy. Predominantly, I coach the U13 ECNL and U14 ECNL.
Okay.
And then I dabble in other age groups and see a lot of the older boys teams as well.
Okay. Now, how long have you been coaching with the academy here?
Yeah, almost a year. So
Almost
end
a
of
year.
May will be a year. It's been great experience. I love it so far. And a lot of cool things ahead for the academy.
So Mark, for our listeners that don't know your history, can you just give us a quick breakdown of kind of where you came from, how you got involved with the Red Wolves, if you don't mind?
For sure, yeah. So before I got into the club game full time, I was a college coach. I'd spent some time at a couple small schools around the Southeast, Huntington College in Montgomery, and is the latest one. And then a couple years after being there, a job opened at UAB in Birmingham, and I became an assistant coach there for a couple years. And then the academy had this, special job open, and I was super excited to get a phone call and them kind of pursue me. So that's how I got here. Originally to become the ECNL director. If you don't know what ECNL is, it's the Elite Clubs National League. It's one of the top youth leagues in the country for both boys and girls. And our academy is one of the few in Tennessee that they get the opportunity to compete in that competition. It's really great. So now I'm the director of coaching and I oversee the ECNL program, but also the overall development of the teams.
I'm glad you described what ECNL was, because I was imagining it to be some kind of a Lutheran denomination, and sitting there going, "Wow!" So his background is church league, and which is no, I'm just messing with you. So yeah, I'm in Alabama right now. I'm near Fort Payne, and but we have one of our players, I believe, had played at University of
UAB?
Alabama, yeah, at UAB, and I think it's
DJ Benton.
yes, DJ, who
Yeah.
is. I asked him; he's actually not a DJ, so he does
Devin.
know DJ.
Devin's his name. Yeah.
Devin, yeah. So
Yeah.
So were you there when he was there?
I was. So we overlapped by about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Devin and DJ, being as talented a player as he is, left school a little bit early. Went to North Texas, obviously, and now was with the Red Wolves. And I'm super excited to have him here as a familiar face and another good player, another good person to join us. It's been great.
He does go by DJ. He just doesn't spin the records.
Correct.
I was, I go old school, and everything I do is old school because I'm the senior correspondent. So how did you get into coaching?
Oh, man. So I was playing in college. I went to Greenville University in Illinois, smaller school, similar to like a Sewanee or a Covenant type size. Mm-hmm. And a local kid was looking for individual lessons. And I thought, oh, it's summer. I need to stay fit anyways. I'll just do these things with him. And then turned out loving it. And I haven't turned back.
Very cool.
So let me ask you this. So our academy goes from all the way from as young as a pre-academy age all the way through. What is the way in which the academy looks at these players and looks at development of them? What is the ultimate goal of the academy as they look at the life of a player?
Yeah, ultimate goal after you go through the program is to, number one, create guys to be on the first team. Or girls for USLW. That's the overall goal. Thinking globally, hey, how do we get young players into their respective first team, whether that be for the Red Wolves or USLW, the Lady Red Wolves? Second part of that is, okay, if you're not at that level, which not everybody is, okay, what kind of college program can we get you into? Are you at that level? Because we ultimately want to get kids to whatever dream they have of playing soccer. Hopefully it's with the Red Wolves at some point. But but we know not everybody is able to do that. So very exclusive.
I know that for getting your kids involved in sports can be a very costly affair, and there's a lot of equipment and so forth. What are the advantages? Like, if you're thinking about finding a sport for your kid to get involved in, what are the advantages of soccer as well, and specifically with the Red Wolves Academy?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the Red Wolves Academy in East Tennessee, besides one team in Knoxville, we offer the highest level of competition, and that's the ECNL. In that, we are also the cheapest program to be a part of in terms of club soccer or travel soccer that competes in that ECNL. Now, not everybody competes in that in our teams, but our team fees, if you will, that every kid pays towards the academy are lower than most. So I say that because one of our goals in the academy is to make soccer affordable for every kid. And as you guys may or may not know, we have a lot of kids from the North Georgia area who may come from low-income families. We have kids from parts of Chattanooga who are low-income families, kids from Cleveland who are low-income families, and we do anything we can to help those families that love to be part of the game. So that's one really cool thing that we get to do is, help others enjoy the game as much as we do.
So I'm going to ask a selfish question here.
Yeah.
When you guys are looking at players and you choose to put, notice a lot of times kids will be put in age groups above them and things like that. How do you determine that? And then also the second half of that is, when they have been put up, how do you determine keeping them down a year? Like, when does it become to their advantage? Like, how do you guys make those type of decisions? Because that happens in all kinds of academies. So it's not just.
It does. So we base ours on a couple different things. So obviously technical skill, tactical knowledge or tactical skill. And then are they mature enough personality wise to kind of deal with those hardships of playing up in age groups or down in age groups? I'll give you an example. There's a 2011 boy who plays up on the 2009 ECNL team because his skill set is at a fairly high level for his age group. So he needs something to be pushed a little bit more than the average 2011 birth year. Now that comes with his own struggles and things physically. Yeah. But it's built around those three things. And our program uses a stoplight method. Okay, so green means go, obviously. Yellow is, okay, slow down. Red means stop. If we have a kid that's always in the green for his particular age group, okay, he needs to be moved up. Now, is he in that yellowish range to where, okay, let's hold him here for a little bit and figure out if he's ready for that level of environment. And then red, obviously, hey, don't go any further, because he's at the right place. He's challenged appropriately. And then that changes with every kid, with every age group that they move up or down in.
Yeah, the reason that's selfish for me is my son's team, literally half the team is a year younger, including my son. It's like, how did they do this? Like, I don't even understand it, but okay.
Yeah, some other things too. So there's some rules that, if you put a team in the state league, you have to be able to fill a roster. So how do we put appropriate players in that roster? Well, at the same time of giving them the right level of competition in that respective environment. So it happens a lot at the younger ages, not so much at the older ages.
That makes sense.
So what are ways that adults, maybe who with kids, or maybe those who don't have kids who have a passion for soccer, how can they be involved in the academy?
Yeah, we have a couple different ways. One, you could contact me. My email's on the website, mward@redwolves-sc.com, or Coach Luke Winter, if you guys know him. His email's on the website as well. Any of those, myself, Luke, Angelica, who is our director of administration, she is really good about passing on people who have inquired about the program, and then we just reach out to them. We encourage anyone and everyone to reach out to, one, learn more about the academy. Are we a right fit for you? Or are you a right fit for us also at the same time? So
And speaking about finding the right fit, I know that there's a lot of rules around not necessarily recruiting, but attracting players and when you can and when you
Right,
can't.
right.
What steps does the academy do to reach out to those kids that, or their parents for that matter, that may not even know about the Rebels Academy, or even for that matter, academy soccer in general? They've gone through rec programs and things like that, and they've just never. In this area, everyone knows about two things in the South. They know about Pee Wee football, and they know about travel baseball.
Yeah.
What do you guys do to get your name out to those, to attract those players to come to tryouts that happen in the spring?
Yeah, for sure. So we're partnered with Eastridge Rec first, and a little thing that leads into pre-academy called Soccer Shots. So partnering with rec programs and other local entities, YMCA's, Soccer Shots, things like that, to let them know that there's more beyond rec soccer if your family is interested. But also we have people who are, brand ambassadors who go around and watch games and talk to people in different rec leagues and different games across the city or across the state. And on top of that, social media. Social media is huge for us because we think we have this awesome program and, all these cool things to offer. We want to share that knowledge with as many people as we can. So social media and word of mouth is huge.
So you had mentioned being based out of Eastridge, and of course, I'm assuming that's Camp Jordan.
Yes.
And so are there other places in the Chattanooga area that you guys play?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So Eastridge or Camp Jordan is technically like our home, right? We always train at Camp Jordan, but we also have training sites in Dalton at Lakeshore. We also have training sites at Baylor School, at CCS. We also use Boyd Buchanan every so often to train. When weather's bad, they have a nice turf facility out there. We've been to Highland Park a handful of times. We have a good relationship with a lot of places around town, to where if a team is mostly kids from, let's say, Dalton, 60-40 Dalton kids. All right, well, one day a week we're going to train in Dalton at Lakeshore. One day a week we're going to train at Camp Jordan. That way we try to accommodate as many people as we possibly can while keeping our kids and teams together.
Have you ever snuck a team onto the main field at CHI Memorial when
I
was
wish.
looking?
I wish.
Because I wouldn't tell on you.
I wish. I know in the future we could have those opportunities, but at the moment, that's a pretty exclusive place for Coach Jimmy and the boys. So we like to keep it that way also.
So speaking of Coach Jimmy and the boys, how often do they get involved with the academy, either through training or just through coming out to occasional practices?
Yeah. So with our path to pro, so that with the goal of being a professional soccer player, joining the Red Wolves, we have a meeting once a week. All of our technical staff, so the first team staff, our general manager who kind of helps lead and kind of figure out some directives, myself, Coach Luke, our USL2 coach, Coach Safe, and Scott, who you guys had on last week. We talk at least once a week, making sure we're tracking the right kids, making sure we're following, what Coach Jimmy wants from guys, what they look like, how they act, how they think, and then figuring out from there. I have seen, Coach Jimmy and a couple of his assistants at a number of games this year. Of course, that was before preseason. They're pretty busy at the moment, as you can imagine. But once they've kind of got their schedule down, and I assume this summer when we pick back up, we're going to see them a lot.
So one of the things that you deal with, and it seems to be more specific to the Tennessee area, is some of the rules around high school soccer and club soccer.
Right.
Can you explain to those who may not know how that works and how you interact with high school programs to ensure that those players still get those opportunities?
Yeah, for sure. So our high school age boys in Tennessee, unfortunately, aren't allowed to compete for their respective high school and club soccer at the same time. So we lose the high school age boys in the spring because they love competing for their respective high school. Baylor's got a great program. CCS is a good program. Macaulay
Dalton school
program. Yeah. All these teams, Dalton, like all the teams in Dalton, where we have a number of players from, have great programs. Now, the Dalton community is a little bit different because in Georgia, you can compete for your high school and your club at the same time. Some other things kind of get in the way because we have mixed group of Tennessee plus Georgia. So how do we get numbers to compete all the time? So we don't even try to force that issue upon families. So yeah, we've kind of let them play for their high school, which is great. So we compete in the high school age groups from about July, August up until January for either state league, ECNL, or our girls program. Maybe some boys have been in NPL in the past, which is the National Premier League, I believe it's called. So yeah, that's kind of the pathway there. When they compete for ECNL, the best part of ECNL is they also get to compete for their high school. Other leagues in the country that maybe MLS academies play in, unless you play for a private school that is paying for your tuition to be there, you're on a scholarship, you're not allowed to compete for your respective school. So it's the best of both worlds with us. You get to compete at a high level environment for your respective club, but also for your respective school at the same time.
So you've mentioned a number of different programs, whether it's State League, NPL, ECNL. There's another program out there that you hear about, but it's kind of hard to tell what the interaction with it is, and that's the USL Academy and the USL Academy Cups.
Yeah.
How does that work when it comes to our program?
Yeah. So this might be breaking news. USL Academy Cup is this Wednesday through Sunday, and our program is taking 3 teams. We're taking U13 boys, U15 boys, and U19 girls. Again, because we have a mixed, bag of kids from Tennessee and Georgia. We didn't want to remove or ask kids to remove themselves from high school to compete in the USL Academy Cup. But not to brag on us, but the last time we took high school boys, we finished as finalists, lost to Real Monarchs out of Utah, who's affiliated with Real Salt Lake. We lost to them in the final 2-1. It was an incredible match. Hopefully we have the same success with the 3 teams that we're taking this year. So USL Academy is an awesome platform that us and the Utah branch are actually going to compete in. We're both taking teams to the Cup. Utah branch is going to put a U19 team in the USL Academy League. I don't want to break news for us, but we may have something in store next week for everybody. But we take who we think are on track to be the first team players of the future on these teams. And it's super exciting because we like to put like talent with like talent, no matter what platform they compete in. State League, ECNL, USL Academy, whatever. But putting like talent with like talent just feeds a competitive environment. And with competition, breeds success, and success breeds success. So hopefully we continue to do the right things and, be on that track of competing on the national stage, not just in ECNL, but with USL academies also.
So the Chattanooga Red Wolves Academy covers not just Chattanooga, but also for Dalton, because we do have the Dalton Red Wolves.
Correct.
So what is the interaction between the Dalton Red Wolves and the academy?
Yeah, so a lot of our boys who are on the college track or are in college look for a place to play over summer. And USL2 offers that at a pretty high level. It's an amateur league, as you guys know, that's based around college-age players that are looking to stay fit throughout the summer or leading into their fall season. And we like to push those top-end players into that program from the academy. So I think this upcoming season we'll have more than 10 academy players, high school-age boys in that environment this summer. That's not including boys that are already in college coming back home for the summer that are former Red Wolves. And you could add, 5 to 8 more guys like Jamie Mendiola from Dalton, who's committed to NC State. Omar, who was from Dalton, who's at Wake Forest. A number of other guys, Fabian Navarro, who's at Lee, going to come back and play. A number of guys like that, plus our academy kids and some others from around the area. Should be a good team. Should be fun to watch.
Yeah, for our viewers out there who may not be aware of this, Ricketts, Jonathan Ricketts had spent his time at the Dalton Red Wolves. So that's
Right.
and we've had some other players come up through there. So that's exciting to see. What is it about Dalton that seems to breed and seems to bring out so many quality players?
I wish I knew the secret, because
The
if
water?
I would put it here in Chattanooga. But I think it's a culture thing. Kids just grow up playing, and they love playing. We make the joke all the time that it's, to them, no matter what team they're on, State League, ECNL, USL Academy, USL2, it's just another game to them. They love playing, and they'll play to the best of their ability, as high, level as possible whenever they get a chance to. It's a unique situation that we have here in Chattanooga, being so close to, a soccer hotbed of North Georgia, and it's a blessing at the same time. They just love playing, and they make our program great.
All right, so Mark, we're gonna kind of start to wrap up this, and I want to give you an opportunity. If I'm a parent of a talented kid, and I'm trying to decide between our academy, the other major academy in the Chattanooga area, or even staying with one of the kind of the middle of the road that's not quite as expensive, not quite as much travel, why do I choose the Red Wolves?
Yeah, so if I were to sell it to you, and I don't like the word sell, because we want people to be part of it as much as we want them to be in. But in a nutshell, we have unbelievable staff, highly qualified staff, that have turned out pros in the past, that are former pros themselves, that are high level soccer or football people. We have great facilities. We have the ability to compete in a number of different platforms for competition. Like I said, ECNL, State League, USL2, the whole path. If you want to be a pro soccer player and be part of an academy that cares about you and cares about the development of your individual child, not just the program, Red Wolves is it for you. We deeply care about each kid, each family, and that's why we're so accommodating and do what we can to make it work for each respective family.
Awesome.
All right, so when you're taking the kids after the game and you're going for barbecue, this is a very serious question.
We have to ask this question.
Yeah.
What is your go-to barbecue meat?
So one, I'm a huge fan of the show, because if there's brisket on the menu, I buy it.
Well done.
Right? You have to try brisket at any barbecue place you go to if it's on the menu.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I'm a ribs guy after that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're preaching to the choir.
You're making him a happy person. I'm still going with my chicken wings, and I don't care that you don't think it's barbecue. It is.
That's good. And you also, watching the show, know that we're I think Alex calls us Euro snobs because of following Premier League teams. Now, this could be a divisive question. Who is your Premier League team?
So I grew up supporting Man United.
Wait. I think we lost the signal. I'm sorry to hear that. Wow.
But I'll admit, with the hiring of Jesse Marsh at Leeds, they might turn me.
Oh, there you go. Going with the American.
I'm a huge fan of Jesse Marsh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm disappointed you didn't stick with the Wolves theme and go for Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
But I will continue to howl for my Wolves in the good and bad.
Yeah. Orange is too close to yellow for me.
Well, it's not a burnt orange like Texas. It's an old gold.
Okay.
I'm just saying, red's a good looking color, and we were the last team not to lose at all. I'm just saying, it's a beautiful color.
They're making a comeback. They're revitalizing themselves.
Everybody is making a comeback. It just depends how long it takes.
Yeah, except for United. We're still figuring things out.
Hey, they're right where I want them to be. All right. On that note,
we're talking about United, right? Yeah, they're right.
Yeah, United's right where I want to be. Actually, Arsenal's right where I want them to be too. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season, especially after our start, hey, you're going to be in fourth, be ahead of United with games in hand, I would take it.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah. Anyways, hey, Mark, thank you so much for your time. I know that you're a very busy man, and so we really really appreciate it, and all the best to the academy, and especially in the Academy Cup. That hopefully you guys come home with not just that the second place, but actually come home with the trophy this time. So I think you guys can do it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We're gonna need some luck down there, but we're up for the challenge. It's a great opportunity for the boys and for our program, and we're ready to represent, the Red Wolves with class and the best competition possible.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
right.
Mark.
I appreciate
Come on,
it.
you
Thank
Red
guys.
Wolves.
All right. If you guys had asked him a couple more questions, he would have completely faded to black.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, it was it just kept going. I was like, when do we wrap this up? I guess now, since
Still,
he's no
huge
longer
thank
seeable.
you. Huge thank you to Mark Ward for coming, talking to us about what's going on with the Academy. If you go to at CRW Academy on Twitter, and I believe if you follow the Academy page on Facebook as well, they have a link if you're wanting to try to see some where they're streaming the USL Academy games for both the boys and young ladies that are down there. Good luck to all those Chattanooga Red Wolf players. Represent the club, and we're rooting for you.
They actually just posted some results, so I'm going to break some, results of what's going on down there. The U13 boys with a 2-0 victory over Tampa Bay. The U15 boys with a tough 1-3 loss to North Carolina Fusion, and the U19 girls with another tough loss, a 1-4 loss, also to said Fusion.
All right. Well, let's dive in to Louisville City. We have a new segment that I have just thought up a little while ago. We're going to call it Scouts Honor. That's pending a more creative name. At Soccer Chat with 2 T's. Hit us up on Twitter if you've got a better name for it. You guys know how to reach us in the Chattanooga Red Wolf fan page. But Scouts Honor, which means we are going to deep dive into these teams that we're facing. We're going to try to watch the games and really give you an idea of what we're seeing. Of course, we couldn't do that with Madison because they haven't played any games yet, at least that we were able to watch. So I have done it with Louisville City. Since they started their season at the beginning of March, I have watched their first 4 games. I've seen all their goals. I watched their players, paid attention. So I've got a little bit of a breakdown here. They play a very similar style. They're normally lined up in that same 4-3-3 that you see the Red Wolves in. And they look to do a lot of the same things. They press high. They're kind of strategic about it. They like to get the ball. When they win the ball, they like to transition quickly and get the ball forward. You see lots of sometimes diagonal balls, trying to work a ball to the wing. Definitely always trying to get the ball out to the wings and get to the end line. And bring a ball back across into the box. So it's something that you'd be used to seeing, very similar style that may help the Red Wolves when they come to defend it because it's going to be a style that they're very familiar with. Some players to keep an eye on. There is a player with a lovely bald dome and a manly beard. I can't remember his first name, but it's Ownby is the player. He's a winger. Very dangerous, very good on the ball, very technical. He's one that you're probably going to see. Another impressive one.
So hold on, before you keep
Yeah.
going, I do want to mention I actually his relative Craig Owenby and I worked together at you and I's current employer for a while. Got to know him a little bit. Got to meet the Brian Owenby, who plays for Louisville, and good guy. And you're 100% right. He is someone on the attacking end to keep your eye out for. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, another impressive player. His name is Josh Winder, 16 years old, plays center back for them.
Jeez.
Very composed, does a very good job playing out of the back, good at winning tackles. He's got good size for being a 16-year-old. He doesn't look, skinny and scrawny. He is going to be an impressive player, probably someone that you're going to see on the field. And then one that I think he's spent most of the season as a sub, but he may get the start against us as they try to rotate people. His name is Enoch Mushagalusa.
You just wanted to say his name. That's all that was.
Wears number 77. Lots of speed, very good skill on the ball. Very good attacking player. Someone that if he is going to be in the game, you really have to watch because he's going to get the ball on the wing and create a lot of dangerous situations. Another player is Cameron Lancaster, is their number one striker. He has not played yet. He's been coming back from an injury, but led the team with 29 goals last year. So I don't know if they, let him play managed minutes, but he is a very dangerous player that hasn't even had a chance to get on the field yet. So someone else that we've got to watch. This game is a very tall order for the Red Wolves, and I think, especially if things go the way we want, they go into the game and they have a comfortable 2-0 win against Madison. I think they're going to try to be pretty pragmatic. I think you could see the very same 11 that starts against Madison start against Louisville on Wednesday.
I mean, I
You've
think we're
got
almost
time to
forced
rest the
right?
legs up. They make the trip. And, unless someone just has a disaster of a game or a really bad injury, I think we're going to kind of see that same team try to continue momentum and go up and play that team in Louisville.
So you mentioned that you've watched these games, and so far they have played 4 games
Correct.
on the season, and they're 3 wins, no losses, and a tie. Um, can you tell us a little bit about what do they feel like they were dominant wins? Did they feel like it was more of they got a lucky goal, or what are we looking at? I mean, right now they've got their top of the table in championship in the
Right.
Eastern Conference, but is that an accurate top of the table, or is it a fluky top of the table?
Yeah, they've been comfortable in all those games. They had a game that was a 2-0 win against Atlanta United. I think it was a 3-0 win against the Miami FC. They had another 2-0 win against New York Red Bull 2, and then a 1-1 draw in a regional rivalry against Indy 11. They might have come away with a loss if Indy had started Tim Trilk, just saying. But yeah, they've been comfortable in all those. They've conceded the one goal against Indy, which was a really nice goal that they scored. It was, but then Louisville was able to come back. They're not scoring a ton. I think they're still kind of, like I said, they're waiting for that number one striker to come back before the offense is fully unleashed. But they're very well organized defensively, and so it never has felt like they've been in danger of giving up these games. The goals that they score are, off of set pieces, through the run of play, however they do it. They get 1-2, they defend really well, and they control the games. And so it really is, the 10 points that they've gotten off of the first 4 games, which, I mean, if we've got 10 points in our first 4 games, we're doing cartwheels, right?
Right. Yeah.
This Saturday, they're going to be playing away at Birmingham Legion. And that's the first of a 4-game road trip for them. So they're going to have to play away, come home and play us, and then go. And I think they're playing. Who was it there? Oh, they're going to have to play Loudoun, which is another team in USL Championship that's had a surprisingly good start to their
Yeah.
season. So that's going to be a tough game for them. But even if they rotate players in, I just don't see Indy 11 overlooking Chattanooga Red Wolves, and it's going to be a very tough game.
Yeah, my biggest worry when I look at that is looking at the fact that they've only given up the 1 goal. This is a team that we're missing some offensive pieces, and then to add into it, we're playing a defensive team. That's going to be a tough game, but crazier things have happened. I also wish they were playing a harder team on Saturday than they're playing. Not the worst team in the Eastern Conference, which is who Birmingham is right now. Granted, still early. But like I would prefer that. That said, I mean, everyone expected Memphis to be terrible this year, and they're in 5th right now. So like it's early. It's hard to tell like what is a fluke and what is not. So it'll be interesting to see, to say the very least. And I think ultimately we want to win there. I would love to see CFC win their game and get to play them, just for no other reason than the fact that I would like to go to another game, even if it's at Finley Stadium, without having to travel a million miles. That said, there is a traveling contingent that's going to be at that game representing the Rebels, including yourself. So
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoy yourselves up there and we get to come back with a second victory on the season, because let's hope for a win this Saturday. So Alex, that's Scout's honor. Anything else for us before we move on to to our
Do
prediction
we
for
want to
that
make
game?
predictions again? Here's what I want to happen. What I want to see is in that first 10-15 minutes, Sebastian Capizzucci crashing through the box off of a set piece, putting a header in the goal, and knocking Louisville back on their heels, and everything kind of spiraling for them from there as they're trying to manage their roster, trying to get through to because they've got a big game the following Saturday, and things go well for us, and we come away with say a 2-0, 2-1 victory.
All right. I'm going to go super optimistic here. It's middle of the week. They are used to playing in front of large crowds. I don't think they're going to get a great crowd for facing us in the middle of the week, which is going to make it quieter than normal. And I think you're going to see a shocker of a 1-0 victory.
Any crowd with superfan K Baker is a great crowd, and that's
Right,
what they're
for
going to have
us.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, for us. All right, and so let real quick before we move on, I believe breaking news: Wolfman Jeff is here.
So did I time it so all the work was done by the time I got here?
Yeah,
a little bit,
Awesome.
a little bit. So what we need from you, Wolfman, is 2 predictions: one for this weekend versus Forward Madison, and one for the midweek game versus Louisville.
You know what? I feel good for both of them. More confident with Forward Madison, actually. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Red Wolves win. It's our opening match. I know not all of our players are there yet, but I'm kind of banking on Madison being not as prepared either. I'm not saying we're not as prepared. We just don't have our pieces there because coach is always prepared, but he doesn't have all the players he'd like. So I'm going for 2-0. It's going to be much tighter, I think, in Louisville. And obviously it's a championship side. I am going to go for a 1-0, actually a 0-1 with us winning just by 1 goal. And the reason I'm going for that is I don't think it matters. I don't think it means more to us, I think, than to Louisville at this point. Louisville's got a lot of other stuff that we're working towards, and I think this is a major get. And after what happened against South Georgia Tormenta going out to South Georgia Tormenta 2, I think we really want to make sure we're going to play as far into this competition as we can. So those are my predictions. It's written in stone.
Written in stone. It's done. It's done.
So that it's written so that it be done.
So as this is a preview for the first game of the season, with these type of previews comes even more ridiculous predictions. Alex, we're going to start with you on this one. What is your prediction of the order in which the teams are going to finish in USL League One?
Okay. Tell you what, because we're already past 8 and we're getting close, let's just do our 6 playoff teams.
That works.
So for me, I have Greenville, Chattanooga, and then I have in the first round play-in matches Richmond, Tucson, Union Omaha, and North Carolina.
Whoa.
Those are my playoff teams.
All right, who you got, Wolfman?
All right, I got a pick for the Red Wolves, and Greenville I think is a shoe-in. They're always a threat. I think Union Omaha is going to slip a bit this year, but I still think they've got enough in the tank to make it into the entry level. I'm going to go for you know what? I also going to say I think North Carolina is also going to sneak in as well. Let me see. I've got Richmond, and then maybe I'm going to go for a wild one and pick Tucson.
All right, so neither of you picked. So this is my top 2 is Greenville and Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 is actually going to be the Hailstorm. I got Richmond Kickers in 4. I've got Union Omaha in 5. And as much as I hate them, I've got Forward Madison sliding in at 6. So that's my top 6 right there.
Well, because again, these predictions are complete, accurate. Someone has traveled to the future and tried to save humanity, and we do that with
who
USL
do
League One.
You guys have taking the spoon? I have Charlotte Independence finishing at the bottom this year.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they have done the least to prepare, and I think even less than North Carolina did last year. And so I think they're just kind of sleeping this one in. So I think they're going to get a cold awakening to what League One really is.
I think that's a good choice, but I think they're going to surprise some people with how well they actually end up playing. And so I'm actually going to throw out a team that you guys actually, I think, chose to go somewhere with Central Valley Fuego. So I have finishing last. I think as much as I want to be excited about them, for whatever reason, I just feel like that travel is gonna get them. And I think same way it hurts Tucson, and I think ultimately they're gonna be in trouble.
They are the mystery team for me because they have been much more active on signing, but we know so little about them, so they're going to be coming out of left field, and it could just be a phenomenal team because at this level, obviously, you're not going to know everyone, or it could be the other thing.
Yeah.
So I have thoughts on World Cup qualifying. Basically, my thought is, yay, we qualified. Does anybody have anything different to add?
It did kind of feel like the last end of the season for the Red Wolves, where once we got into the playoffs, we just kind of coasted, and it felt like that, especially the last game. Yeah, we qualified, but it wasn't the strong statement to close it out. But we are in. We slid down. We could have just held on to second place but we gave it up. But we are qualified. That's the most important part.
I mean, the game literally meant nothing, the last game. So, I mean, you're not going to lose by 6, and you weren't going to affect your place in which pool you're in. So it meant nothing.
Yeah, but it still shows to me. It still shows fighting character, and I think we need to attack every game as if they matter.
Yeah, the only thing I would say on that is you can only hurt your position. You can only hurt yourself with getting cards and such that could carry over into the game into the World Cup, because those do carry over if there was a suspension that had to take place. So that's the only other side of it. Yeah, I get it, and it wasn't great. It was in Snorefest for sure, but ultimately we won that qualifying spot and that ability to not care in that victory that we had at home. So,
and hats off to Canada. That was impressive. So they impressed me for I had I wouldn't have been surprised if they got in, but they had a strong showing. So we'll see how far they get, but good for them.
They're going to have a tough draw. I mean, aren't they in the third pool?
I think they are the fourth pot, aren't they?
Are they fourth pot? Ooh, that could be really bad. So, all right. So in theory, we have a Biggleswade report. However, I do not have the music for you because I've got a new computer and managed to delete it. So, yay me!
Great. Okay, Jeff, hum the music. So, all right, just a quick report here. Biggleswade Town right now has 8 points from their last 5 games. So they've started out with they're kind of on the upswing, getting themselves to safety. Right now, they're still in the relegation zone. They will be off this weekend. Biggleswade FC coming off 2 consecutive wins, but they are looking 12 points from the promotion playoff. So there's a good chance that they're not going to be able to make that promotion push. But having a good season, Biggleswade FC. Way to go, guys. And finally, Biggleswade United. They've had a couple of losses the last few games. Of course, things are tough, but they are still 3 points above the drop. And that is your Biggleswade report.
And that's what I get for showing up late.
All right. Well, it is. We're a little over an hour. I hope to see everybody at the tailgate. Starts at 4 o'clock on Saturday.
Yes!
If you need more information about the tailgate, go to the Red Bulls fan page and check that out. Chattanooga Red Bulls fans on Facebook. Gives you a little bit of information about it. Starts at 4. Setup starts at 3.
If you get the tailgate, please, as loud as you can, scream Brandon Dean, He'll really appreciate that. Brandon D.
And on that note,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Boom, 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 boom,
So-
boom, boom, boom.